Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. I am the founder of the Marriage Foundation. Hopefully you're a subscriber. This title is My Wife Gets Mad at Everything I Say. And if you are a subscriber, you know that we address marriage in a completely different way from everyone else. So subscribe now and let's get right to this topic. Why is your wife getting mad at everything that you say when you compare that to when you were dating and she laughed at everything you said, or she smiled, or at least acknowledged you? But certainly the last thing she would do is get mad at you. So it's true that people change. It's true. And the problem is that people change not for the better when they get married, but they start changing for the worse, and you have also. So you are not going to be able to get your wife to change. Let's get that out of the way. You can bribe her with $1 billion. You can threaten her with obliteration of her life. You can do anything that you want to get anybody in the world to change, and it won't work. Now, they may be nice to you for a few minutes after you do something nice. They may react to a threat in a positive way because they feel intimidated and threatened, but they won't change. In other words, your wife isn't going to change. At the Marriage Foundation, by the way, we've been doing this for over 20 years. I used to be a divorce mediator, and I really saw this during our divorce mediation sessions when I would be negotiating, basically, between a husband and a wife who had decided to get a divorce. And it was never pretty because no one would ever acknowledge their own flaws. A little bit, but not really. They would say, yeah, well, maybe blah, but we don't see ourselves. So it's an interesting phenomenon. What happens is when we're married, we start dropping off the niceties. We start dropping off the words and messages of love, which is why we got married. And instead we start taking each other for granted, right? She did it with you and you did it with her. So, this topic is reflective of a very deep kind of underlying, almost universal problem. Because if you look at it from her perspective, she's annoyed with you. And when you say something, it's like opening up the dam, the floodgates of her feelings towards you. And I don't mean to be mean, but her feelings towards you are a reaction, and it's a combination. Partly it's what you're saying and doing, and I'm not talking about just at that moment. I'm talking about all the moments up to this moment. So part of it is how she hears it, how she sees it based on her own free will, but also a lot of it has to do with the intention that you have been losing over a period of time. The intention to treat her like your queen. Now tell me that isn't true. When you first dated, perhaps even in the first part of your marriage, you just treated her like royalty and you didn't care. You laughed off when she didn't treat you the same way. And that was the right thing to do, is to laugh it off, to just go, well, that's just a part of her that isn't the part of her that I was attracted to, but I accepted that it's there. I understand that she is a human being. She has flaws. I have flaws. And you're not in a position as her husband, and I would say the same thing to a wife, you're not in a position to point out her flaws to her. Nobody is, as I described earlier, because it doesn't work. You're in a position to just accept her flaws as her flaws and not take it personally. So there's two parts here. First is why this is happening. It's happening for several reasons. One is she's taking you more for granted, just as you're taking her for granted. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is an accumulation of frustration with how you're not treating her the way you promised her. And that's one side of it. The other side of it is, what do you do about it? And what you do about it is you learn how. And it's going to take you time and effort, because you can't snap your fingers and be the husband of her dreams. But you can, you should, and I would go so far as to say, for your own happiness, you're obligated to learn how to love her, to learn how to appreciate her, to learn how to, and this is where the Marriage Foundation is completely different from everyone else. You learn how to manage your mind, to master your mind. No one talks about this. Western psychology is all about honoring emotions. Ridiculous. We make way too much of feelings. It's a part of the process of the mind, but you're a soul. You're not the mind. You own the mind. You are the possessor of your mind, and it's out of control. So you have to learn to get it under control. It takes time. It's a process. It takes effort. We include this teaching in the course for men and in the course for women. And honestly, you're probably past the point of just reading one of my books, which would help a great deal. You're also probably past the point of turning your marriage around just based on these videos, although you should definitely subscribe. And you should keep watching them because they're so useful. Because what I do is I present a flavor of marriage. And I keep reminding people, you got married for happiness. You got married for love. So all this other stuff that's happening, we got to get rid of. And so that's what's so important. All right? Hopefully this has helped you and you could like the video. Now, for those of you who have been following for some time and you really have a deep interest, maybe you're a therapist and you want to be more effective in your practice. Maybe you're clergy, or you work within your church or synagogue or mosque, and what you're doing is helping couples with their marriages, and you're starting to use more and more the techniques, the attitudes, everything that we have at the Marriage Foundation, and you could become a TMF counselor now. We're going to very, very shortly have on our website a page where you could apply and sign up to get all of the training so you could be a TMF marriage counselor, and that would be amazing because we have great plans for that. Great plans to really get this out, and we've heard it, and you could look at the comments on the YouTube videos, all of them, and see people are really loving this stuff. Now, obviously, there's some who go, there's always going to be like people like that. We don't worry about them. We love them. They have a right to their opinion, but we know what we're doing about marriage works because thousands and thousands of people have taken our courses, read our books, and have definitely benefited. So we welcome you to sign up to become a TMF marriage counselor. So that's it. Again, I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. I'm very glad that you joined us. God bless you and take care.